Today, we're diving into something huge that's happening in the world of Indian investing. SEBI has just hit the reset button on the entire mutual fund rulebook, and we're going to break down exactly what that means for your money.
So let's just cut right to the chase, right? The biggest question on your mind is probably, are my mutual funds actually going to get cheaper because of all this? Well, spoiler alert, the answer is a pretty clear yes, and we're about to explain exactly how.
So who's behind this massive shakeup? It's India's market regulator, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI. And listen, this isn't just some minor adjustment. We are talking about a complete teardown and rebuild of the regulations that have been running the show for decades. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this big mutual fund overhaul. What actually happened, and what made them do it? The old rulebook, which dates all the way back to 1996, is officially gone. It's been completely replaced by a brand new framework. Think of it like this. The industry has been running on a 30-year-old piece of software, and SEBI just gave it a massive, modern upgrade for 2026 and beyond. But you might be wondering, why now? Why scrap a system that's been around for so long? Well, to understand that, we've got to look back a little bit. You see, those original 1996 rules were amended again and again and again over the last 30 years. Every new rule was like adding another patch on top of an old system. It ended up becoming this complicated, tangled mess that was really hard for anyone to make sense of. It was definitely time for a clean slate. With this rewrite, SEBI had some really clear goals in mind. They wanted to make the rules way simpler, give investors like you a much clearer picture of where your money is going, boost investor protection, and basically build a stronger foundation for the industry to grow on. And if you want proof of just how serious they were about simplification, look at this. The new rulebook is 44% shorter. It went from a super dense 162 pages all the way down to a much more manageable 88. That alone tells you a lot about how much cleaner things are now. All right, now for the really important part. Let's break down the 3 biggest changes in these new rules and how they're going to affect your investments directly. First things first. There's a new term you need to know, the base expense ratio, or BER. This is the new name for the main fee a fund charges you. But here's the crucial part. This fee now only includes the core management costs. All those other charges, like GST and transaction taxes, have been kicked out of this number. The best way to think about it is like a restaurant bill. The old way was like getting a bill where the price of your food had all the taxes and service charges hidden inside it. The new way is much clearer. You see the price of the food, that's your base expense ratio. And then you see all the taxes listed separately. It's all about making things transparent. Change number 2 is a big one. SEBI has slashed the maximum amount of money that a mutual fund can pay in brokerage fees when it buys and sells stocks. For stock trades, the cap has been cut pretty significantly, and for derivatives, it's been nearly chopped in half. Lower trading costs for the fund should mean lower costs for you. And finally, the third big change is that a sneaky little fee has been completely scrapped. There was this rule that let certain funds charge an extra 5 basis points. Well, that loophole is now officially closed. It's another small but really important win for lowering your total costs. Okay, so we've covered what the new rules are and why they were made. Now let's get to the part you really care about. What does all of this actually mean for your wallet? For you, the investor, the story is incredibly positive. You can expect lower overall fees on your investments, you're going to have a much clearer idea of what you're actually paying for, and the whole system is just way less complicated. It's a huge win all around. So what about the fund houses, the companies managing all this money? Well, they're probably going to feel a bit of a squeeze. Analysis suggests their net profits could dip by about 5 to 10%. It's definitely an impact, but it's not seen as something that's going to shake up the entire industry. For the brokers, though, it's a bit of a different story. With those brokerage caps getting cut so much, they could see their revenue from mutual fund business drop by 10 to 20%. That's a much bigger hit, and it shows where some of those savings for you are coming from. So when you add it all up, the simpler rules, the lower fees, the greater transparency, you have to ask, does this kick off a whole new era for investing in India? And by the way, those numbers we just talked about, they come from some serious analysis by the rating agency ICRA. Their work is what helps us really see the financial ripple effects of these new rules across the whole investment world. And it seems like the industry itself is on board. The chairman of the Association of Mutual Funds in India called these regulations very balanced. He said they're a positive step, not just for investors, but for the fund houses too, creating a more certain path for growth.
So let's just boil it all down. The bottom line is this. SEBI's huge overhaul was designed from the ground up to make mutual fund investing in India simpler, cheaper, and way more transparent. And that's all for you, the investor. Which leaves us with one final thought. With clearer rules and lower costs now baked into the system, has the path for Indian investors just gotten a whole lot smoother? It really makes you wonder if the best time to invest is still ahead of us. Thanks for joining me.